Hello everyone and good evening all. I hope you are all doing well. I welcome you all to this AMD session organized by RECursion, the official programming community of NIT Durgapur. Today we are honored to have as our guest Dharmesh Ruprela, an NIT Durgapur alumnus from 2016. Mr. Dharmesh Ruprela stood out among the talented students who began their journey as a IT undergraduates at NIT Durgapur in 2012. During his undergraduate years, he achieved notable success in competitive programming competitions. Mr. Dharmesh qualified as a regional finalist at the ACM ICPC Amritapuri Regionals in 2013 and 2014. In 2016, he qualified as a regional finalist at the ACM ICPC Chennai Regionals, achieving an impressive 52nd ranking. He also co founded RECursion with an aim to create a community to promote competitive programming within the institute. Mr. Dharmesh's professional journey began with a software development internship at Amazon in Hyderabad. He then worked as a software development engineer at Zomato for a year. Afterwards, he returned to Amazon as a software development engineer, where he worked for nearly 2 years. Currently, Mr. Dharmesh is based in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, where he has been with Kareem for over 5 years. He progressed from a software engineer to a senior software engineer and now serves as a software engineering manager. Mr. Dharmesh Bhaiya, now I request you to say a few lines about your journey till now before we can move further with the session.
Hello, everyone, and thanks, Satvika, for the introduction. Really nice to meet you all. Really excited to be back with the college folks. And yeah, this hour we'll talk about different things you guys would have wanted to know more from my experience. From my side, like from my college days, as Satvika mentioned, I was in the IT department. Started with my coding journey a bit in first year. That was majorly taken by ragging, so nothing much there. From second year is where we started mostly, and then for the 3 years that I had in my college, it was mostly competitive programming, where I was personally focusing on. I did a bit of development as well, but that never became an area of focus for me somehow back in those days. Then I got an internship in my third year with Amazon. After college, I joined Zomato. Then I went back to Amazon again for 2 years, and then after that, I joined Kareem in UAE, and since then, I have been here. With Zomato specifically, I was working with their food ordering team. At Amazon, I was with their seller department, focusing on the claims that the sellers file. At Kareem, I was again part of the food team when I joined here. And then very recently, I've been working on the smart mobility projects for Kareem. So yeah, that's pretty much about my journey so far.
Thank you, Bayo, for that. Now we can start with AMA or Ask Me Anything session. This session has been organized to address and clarify all your queries regarding internships, placements, working as a software engineer, any other queries related to the corporate world or anything in general where Mr. Dharmesh Bhaiya's extensive experience can offer valuable insights. So feel free to start asking your questions in the chat box. Mr. Dharmesh Bhaiya will review them and provide answers one by one. Let's maintain a respectful environment by avoiding spamming the chat box and ensuring everyone has an equal opportunity to participate. So we can start with AMA. Over to you, Dharmesh Bhaiya.
Thanks, Satvika. Okay, I can see a lot of hellos. Hello, everyone. Really excited to be here. Let's start with some questions. Folks, whatever doubts, queries, or anything you want to ask related to what it would look like or how it was for me, I would be more than happy to share my experience and then maybe provide some insights if possible. But before we even start, just to get some context in, so all of these are pretty much based out of my personal experiences. And please don't try to find an answer for a problem. It's based out of a context. Everyone has different situations, and then you maybe join some set of companies, some set of opportunities. It could be based on your experience, your strengths, what industry was looking back then. I graduated like 8 years ago, so things are changed drastically over the decade. And just take it, as something with the context of the answers that I would be providing, and then let me know if that could help you in your journey that you guys are on. Okay, I can see first question from Sudarshan. I want to know how much did CP help you in your journey? So I think this has been a debatable topic. CP करें कि dev क्या ज़रूरी है, what one should do, one shouldn't do. So I think you should definitely try CP and do it. Now it depends if you want to do it as a sport, or you want to just give all the time to competitive programming and become a sports programmer. But I think to specifically say, CP helps you build the problem solving skills, and then it helps you decode, like you are used to reading a paragraph that has some real life things as problems, and then you try to translate it into code. I think that's very fundamental in industry. You would work with your product managers, your quality managers, and people around, business people. They would tell you the problems, and then you would be tasked to translate it into code. Like very specifically in sprint terminology, there is a thing called user stories, and those stories are a bigger version of the code chef problems that you see. So if you are used to doing that, it would give you a lot of confidence on understanding of things. And then second thing that I see how competitive programming helped me was with debugging and the quality of code I could ship in the time that was given to me. So I think it is, as I said, it is a sport. You have to race against time. The contests are for 1 to 2 hours, and then you need to ace at it. So whatever you would be thinking, you would take time to think and then code, because you know that if you send a wrong answer, you will get a penalty and you will go behind in the ranking. So this habit or mindset will always give you an edge over others if you build it in the right way, and then you can leverage it while you will be in your career ahead. So there is no, like, if you have to ask me if I do development on the other side, if I have to extend this question a bit, like development is a lot about, like, as I said, product managers will give you some task and then you would be asked to do it, and it would require you to learn a lot of frameworks, industry level practices, how to scale systems. A lot of different things will come up as you grow along in your career. But competitive programming is something that could give you that mindset and that confidence that you can crack things once you are knowing the stack. So development is a lot about reading and understanding the stack, language, exception handling, a lot of things that you would like to read and understand. But competitive programming is a lot about that you have some set of data structures that you are aware of, but then you try to solve hard and harder problems on top of it. So at the very core, it helps you become a better problem solver, and then you could apply that whether you are an engineer or you decide to change boards, you go into management, or you even go somewhere else. It will give you that thinking lens that you can use it in different forms. I hope this answered your question, Sudarshan. And this is personally like my experience. I just translated it in a more third person way. This is how it helped me in my journey. Okay, I can see a lot of other questions. What is the most valuable suggestion you have for students who have just completed their first year? So I think at the end of first year, you are like you have just settled in. You would have now been focused in your departments from second year. First year is a lot about reading different subjects, and then you have to do some other things that you might not like, thinking कि अरे मैंने computer science ली थी, मुझे mechanical क्यों करनी पड़ रही है. Somehow it is needed in our curriculum, and but second year onwards gives you the subjects that are focused on computer science. You would learn about databases, operating systems. A lot of them you would see having like on hands, like implementation and insights while you are in your career or building one with any company. So you can focus on the academics a bit, and also start like focusing on your strengths. Now you can explore competitive programming, or you can start with some development, but get your hands dirty being a programmer. Get that problem solving ability in. If your current career or like your current school, which is NIT Durgapur in this case, helps you do that, well and good. If your current curriculum is not doing it, just don't wait for college to hand over things to you so that you can learn and evolve. There is a whole group out, people are talking on the internet, you can be in forums. I think Recursion is one such forum inside the college. So there is already such platform where you can just connect and just go ahead and try building on your software skills to start with in second year. That's really important. Whether you develop or you start competitive, you need to learn to start to code and then solve problems and then see what makes more fulfillment for you and what are the opportunities you are getting or you could see, and then find solutions on top of it. Is recession and AI still going on? How much are gone the affect our opportunities and how to overcome them? So I think, I'm not sure, I'm not an economics guy, but recession might not be here. We all know that some jobs have been cut, like maybe partially because of recession, or you can say the way people have started thinking differently about money. Like earlier, a lot of growth was on the table that all companies were expected to deliver. Now a lot of profits are being expected. As a result of profit, we are all cost to the company, and that has caused us to hire less and keep less people, also keep less resources, not only people. And across the board, cost is being trying to cut. So I think that has led to some less openings. People are trying to focus a lot on profitability. I think it will help us in the long run. I could feel that some things are redundant now. We are not needed to do things. They can give insights better. But I think that's how any revolution works. Even the history before, when industrial revolution came, machines came, and then everyone was thinking now what people will do, but then it helped you produce more, and then demand increased, and then it at the end created more jobs. So this is where the bet is. I believe it should help us in our favor. We just need to be on the right side of it, understand things, learn the technologies, use it to our advantage, and just try to excel in what we are doing. I believe that should help us. Okay, next question. I can see, what were your thoughts when you co-founded Recursion? Which direction did you wanted to go on? How was the CP culture in the college back in the day? I think this is a good question, interesting. So back in the days, there was culture in CP culture in the college. There, some of our seniors used to do it. We started doing as we went in, but there was no such platform or forum where this was being discussed actively. And Gaurav was is one of my batchmates who spotted this and then wanted to do something. I remember from my days, like Facebook came somehow in the first year. As soon as it was my day one in college, and I don't think anyone was hired out of that hiring call, and that was really disappointing for us. And then somehow we formed a team. We went to ACM ICPC in second year. We were able to crack it, and then there we actually saw what other colleges, or when we met other students from different colleges, it gave a lot of understanding and insights on there is some kind of culture or push. These guys are in some kind of cult, and that's kind of missing in our college. Maybe people are doing it more individually, but this is not celebrated as a group or recognized. And we felt there is a need. We can do more, people can code in our college as well, although some of us started out of curiosity, but I don't think a lot of people used to do it back then. So the culture was kind of missing, but people were doing. And then we thought to officially organize this. It was supported by the professors as well, which was good, and they helped us get all the formalities done. And then finally, towards the end, while we were graduating, it officially became a club. And then meanwhile, we used to run this as CodeChef campus chapters, and then it got translated to a full-fledged club. I hope I answered your question, Abhishek. If you have any other thing, please let me know. I can answer it again. I think I missed the second part. Which direction did you wanted it to go on? So we wanted to I personally started to like competitive programming, and same was the case with Gaurav, Sanu, and few more of us. We all were friends from the same department, and we somehow felt that we can make it something for the college, and try to see if everyone would like to do it. And we also enjoyed while we were doing, and folks were joining who wanted to do. Then we went into our second and third years and juniors came in and they started showing interest. So that always gave that motivation. And then as we saw juniors participating into ICPC and going to participate, it gave us enough confidence that this should stay with the college. And that's where, officially we started thinking to formalize it. Okay, I wanted to know what are the things we need to know to get a job in cybersecurity. Honestly, I'm not a cybersecurity guy, so maybe I would like to pass this question. I wouldn't like to share anything, that could be less relevant. I have never got a chance to read or understand a complete, I mean, from an industry lens of what it would take to become a cybersecurity engineer. What I know is a lot of people have done masters in specialization in that, and then they have taken these roles because they require something more than software development, which is like a bit generic. But Surya Teja, if you want more insights, please reach out to me. I can help you connect with people who are in this space and they can help you answer this for you. What's the best thing about being in tech field that keeps you motivated? I think it is the ever evolving space and the need to do it better. Tech is like changing the world, and it is changing, or it has changed the behavior how we used to do. Like if you can see it yourself, you being a kid versus you right now, the things you were getting access to back then versus now is like insane. And the kind of opportunities in front of our table is like tremendous. So I think it is taking things in the right direction. Now there are concerns over AI and the negative use of it, but I think that comes with any advancement or anything that happens. And then there are always people would like to use it in a negative way, but net I can see, like, or everyone can see that it is taking it in the right direction. And I think this is the best thing. Like it has real impact. It is changing the world, it is changing people's lives, and we can just see it. And even while you're working in companies, any product based company would work with, you could see like people around you using the cabs or food services or any online digital service you would be making or building, and you could see people using it real time and how it is impacting them and their business or their day-to-day use cases or simplifying things. So that is good, and it would make you feel happy, or at least it gives me some fulfillment in some lens. Sorry, I'm struggling with a bit of cold. Okay, I'll take the next question. After going further in your journey while working, many companies also take on Python and regarding AI ML domains, preferably along deep learning. I think this is the most trendiest topic you could read. A lot is being done in this field and being explored. So it is one of the hottest, most demanded kind of roles, and not everyone knows about it. I think it is something similar to maybe cybersecurity, where you have to go beyond your normal software development skills to understand this space and then make a niche. But as you put efforts into this space and build it, what is that this is the most hottest topic, and you will get enough opportunities to show your talent and then grow in your career, in your things, and then it could help you being on the edge. So this is what I feel about this topic. Now, I don't think Python or maybe any other language has a much role, to be very specific. A language is something that you can learn and it should be okay. Now you can check what people are using on these spaces right now and how it is being done. But what are you able to do out of these languages and how you are able to build the products will be more important. Now, language is a choice. It could be okay, depends from company to company, but what you are actually shaping up is more important than these things. Okay, how did I manage to be a ICPC regionalist 3 times? I mean, it was on second year, very honestly, we would like to share. It was not that we got a chance right away. I think something happened. I remember it very hazily. We didn't had a very good rank. We just started CP, and we were not in the top of the list. But we lost to the second position with some microseconds or something, and then we requested, and then there were some slots, some teams that backed off, and then we were given a chance on top of it. But I think it has nothing to do with, you can qualify or there is something you have to do, be very exceptional in something. If you are good at the sport you are doing, and then maybe if I have to personalize it, I was focusing a lot on CP. I used to enjoy that, so it was not like a burden to me to do it and then get better at it. And as I could see progress, that further gave me motivation after solving some problems. There were obviously hiccups, ups and downs, but net I could see every month, every 2 months I could solve maybe more or do better. And I kept doing that until while it was there, and then we went to ICPC quite a times. Okay, I think if I have to hire an undergraduate, I believe he should be a good problem solver. Uh, he has to be good in communication. Communication is something that doesn't goes with any undergraduate or whatever years of experience you have, but this is something that is very valued in industry, on how you are able to present yourselves, not in the form of some kind of formals or some presentations, but are you able to articulate well of what you are saying, but are you able to like take people along with you, are you able to explain them, are you able to get their rationals. So while you are interacting with your interviewers, they also see all of these soft skills on how were you able to talk and communicate. So this is something that is needed. But fundamentally, if I have to summarize, like we expect from undergraduates to be very clear on their basics, because obviously you guys don't like know about industry practices, things on how to scale a system or something like that. But maybe the fundamentals that you read in college, you should be clear with operating system, DBs, columns, different type of operations you can do, what could happen with that, and the core software programming subjects that you do, you have to be clear on that. And then obviously you should be able to code. Code should be like production ready, in the sense that it should not be buggy when you are writing, and then it should cover the edge cases for you, or like it should not be very dirty, in the sense that you have initiated variables left and right. There should be some order and structure in the way you think, and that the interviewer should understand along with you, and then you solve that problem, and then together it gives enough confidence to us or me as an interviewer that maybe this is someone I would like to hire. Like your learning skills, one more point to add on top of this, you should have an aptitude to learn, being an undergrad graduate. And because a lot of things will be new for you, and you should have a knack for hunger to learn new things, and maybe learn new frameworks, new languages. Different teams could work on different stacks, so this is really important for you to have. Like a lot is not expected that you read all the languages and grasp everything and you should know all the exceptions, but it is expected that whatever you have clarity there, and then you know what you're talking about, and then you can do and like build on top of it, and that is good enough, apart from the coding skills that are tested for you folks. Okay, roadmap for non-CS students. I think it is a tricky question. For non-CS students, because you guys won't see things on your day-to-day in your like normal 8 to 5, you should start practicing coding. I think there is enough on internet on how to start to code, how to go about it. I haven't seen this space, but you would just see it enough. And then obviously we have RECursion. These guys can help you if no one else, so you don't need to worry about that. So I think first things first, you need to learn coding and get better at it. Then, as I said, you need to also know the fundamentals of computer science in the sense of operating system, DBMS, and other important topics that are asked, data structures. And then now this is something you don't need to do to crack a semester, but you can always do, in the sense that you are knowing the basics, you know things, and you have done some kind of development, and then that will help you take things ahead smoothly. And then you should in the second year, third year, try to do some kind of internships or some kind of projects. There are a lot of projects or things on the internet where maybe they'll not pay you, but you can join with some college or some projects, try to build something. It will give you that confidence that even if you're not a CS grad, you can do things as you see the impact of the tools or systems that you build. And then finally, as you mature, you should start applying off campus, or I'm not sure if college is allowing right now. If it is allowed, you should sit for the placements. I think everything else will be very much similar for a CS grad. Like, a lot is not expected, honestly, if you are a CS grad or not outside the industry. What you bring to the table in terms of your knowledge sharing, your aptitude to learn, and if you are keen to build your career in tech, that should be enough. Okay, I'll take the next question. uh, First internship experience, what was the prerequisite? I mean, honestly, it was tough for me. I came from very heavily in a competitive programming background. So, as I said, you need to learn and understand a lot about different technologies, frameworks. And then Amazon is a big company, it has a lot of internal tools and frameworks as well. And on the internship in our days was only 2 months, it was not 6 months. So in 2 months you have to take a call of go or no go, and then it became a bit overwhelming to learn and understand a lot of things. And obviously you need to deliver value to the company with the projects that you're doing, and then make an impact. So it was challenging, but it was an experience. It gave me an insights on how industries are supposed to work, what is needed, what to do. It gave me clarity of how my future would look like. It was fun. Obviously, you go out, meet with people, do some real life things. It gives you your first paycheck as well. So a lot of things were good in that lens, and yeah, it was an experience. Prerequisites, I think nothing much. Amazon was specifically asking basics and coding, and that's what was asked. Okay. um, I think I've talked a lot about skills that you would need. Richa, if you have anything specific, I'll maybe pass this question. You can, be more specific. Like, I think I've talked about the traits and things you should know being a fresher. But if you think you have to talk about something else, then please, you can write it again and I'll try to answer. How much internship is important in one's journey for getting a good placement? I think, Abhishek, it is very subjective of what you call good versus but if I have to reframe it, it definitely, as I said, it gave me an experience. It was something on my resume, so no questions asked that it brings value. But it is not that if you are not able to crack an internship or anyone is not able to get it, it's not that you cannot, you will not get hired in the final year, or people will take it negatively for you. Like, I'll tell my personal story. In my second year as well, I got an off-campus internship, but it didn't make a lot of sense for me to fly to Bangalore and then survive there with the things, and it didn't excite me enough. So I decided to just own my CP skills, and I didn't go, and I said no to them. Now, while for someone else it could be that they want to go and then do it because it will give them experience, but I was not very hungry for that. And then there were some other things as well I was focusing on, so I just didn't do it. But what one thing you need to be sure of is, when you are there on an internship, what you do would matter more. Like, you can be in the best internship, but if you don't do enough or you don't deliver in the way they are asking you, then it will hurt you more in the long run than giving you value. Like, because your interviewers will start asking you about your internship experience, or like they will try to go deep if you write a project or something. But if one is not able to crack it, or like not able to give a justified answer, then it will not give a very good impression or things. So as I said, for you guys, I think a lot from freshers, it's not expected that you guys know things in and out, but whatever you guys are doing, you guys are doing it in the right lens. Can you please share a competitive programming journey, Shubhadeep? So yeah, I think for me, as I said, I started end of first year is where I started to know more about it. Honestly, I learned, like, I was a dropper. After 12th, I took a year to give the exams again, and then I went to college. So some of my friends from my hometown were actually in their first year when I was in my hometown. So when I was in my first year, they were in their second year, and I could see they were doing a lot of programming and things around that. And then that gave me, like, I was not aware of what CodeChef is, but then that's how I started. That was my initial starting point. I always used to like code, but I was surprised to see there is a whole platform and then things that you can do and explore, and there is a whole world out there that you have to compete. So that's how it started. I told a bit about my second year journey. We met, me, Gaurav, Sanu, Piyush, Archit, and Sagar, I guess. We were coding and some other folks as well. And then we used to make groups and then do competitions. Then there were some seniors who were really helpful. I remember from my third year and final years, they guided us a lot, helped us be better at it. But that was more of an informal setting. Then in third year is where I think it became more time in competitive programming, because then I got that base in second year where I've learned the data structures. You will see some subjects as well. You will gain some confidence, and then in the third year is where you will like start seeing tough problems, or you will see where you have to spend more time, or it will become more competitive. That's where my third year journey was. And then final year, I don't remember, I couldn't do much. There were a lot of other things that used to go on with placements, campuses. I also applied for something off campus, so we were focusing on that. So we couldn't get involved, and then the formalization of this group also started to happen, and then we couldn't dedicate a lot of time practicing it. And then obviously in industry you start getting less and lesser time, and then eventually it faded away. Okay, some experiences of NIT Durgapur campus. Good question. I think first thing that comes to my mind, in our times, there was a lot of strikes that used to happen, especially before semester. And every time a sem was about to start, somehow or the other, strikes were in college, and we couldn't go to give the sems, or there was a thing made so that it can be delayed. And then there was some good time you can spend, maybe just read more about the subjects you have to being exam, or you can just chill with your friends there. So that's the the first memory that comes if I have to share from an experience. Then I think in our times as well, I don't think I should say this on a live channel, but some ragging was there in some sense. In first year it was good interaction, maybe good for some, bad for some, but yeah, it kept us some involvement there. Second, third year was more about setting things up, like you could enjoy being away from home, and then you could meet a lot of new people. Seniors used to visit us from different years, so it was always keen to know them. I think we have a yearly setup where alumni used to come after spending decades in the industry. So that was one experience I remember that was really fun. And then I think Joops, eating out with friends, roaming around all night. I think NIT Durgapur had the least security for students or things to, in terms of timings, at least back in our days, we can come and go out at any time, at least for boys. For girls, we had some things, but for boys, it was mostly open-ended. So you can go move around, and that was fun. Good time of our life. I think went like a flash, like everyone else. Okay. Next, experience working in different countries. How does tech scene from Dubai compared to India? Okay, so I think I've only worked in 2 countries so far, so I can't say a lot about West, but primarily I can talk about maybe working in Dubai. So Dubai is a bit early in tech. If I have to say, there are less product-based company as compared to if you see in India. I think for you folks, the number of companies maybe would have visited in our campus maybe would be more than the number of good product companies that would be there in Dubai. Although I don't know the number, but tech scene in Dubai is a bit, it's growing up, it's getting space. Like I've spent 5 years there. When I joined, Kareem was one of the few better companies to work at. Now there are a lot more companies, a lot more startups have come. Government is funding a lot of initiatives. They are spent like investing on some early stage startups to grow and make it big. So it's going in the right direction. But if you just compare it with India, maybe that's my personal opinion. I believe it's still a bit early. The kind of tech and the kind of scale that because the amount of population we face, and you would see if you go in the industry, work with different companies, would be way more than if you work for any company. I think even in Europe or even in Middle East. So that's how it is. In terms of work culture, I think it's a bit India moves fast because startups have a lot to do. Growth numbers are different, and they have to, like, everyone has to grow, every company, but it moves a bit faster because of the scale. Here, maybe growth might not be that fast in terms of the product growth. I'm saying because of obviously the total population is less, so the number of users you can get is still lesser. So that's how you strategize. So it's different in that lens as well, and that somewhere pushes, or like talk about the work culture. Maybe in India you would see working for long hours would be more of a norm in a lot of companies, but here it might be a bit relaxed in that sense. Like also for some companies, no, every project or every situation could be different, but then it could just depend, but the probability of happening it in India would be more, if I have to summarize. So you could see that more in there as compared to, I think, Europe or in the Middle East. I think US also has a lot of growth and fast moving culture because of the same. There is a lot of investment, and then it just resonates in the way people work and operate between them. Okay, which is better, web dev or Java full stack? So I think maybe I'll take this question. This is important to. This is what I think at least. There is nothing, you shouldn't take things as more important or less important, or which is better or not. Like obviously there is one thing you might like end up doing, and the second side to it is, if I have to put it very transparently, is the number of opportunities you get being a web developer or a Java developer or a full stack developer or a backend developer, right? So if you are a cybersecurity engineer, if I have to put it, then maybe the number of opportunities you will get will be less as compared to a backend engineer, because it is the kind of role, like you need, everyone cannot be a cybersecurity engineer who is a software engineer, right? So you have to do something extra. That role is more niche, it will give more value, it might give you more pay. I'm sorry, but the number of opportunities might be less. So in the same lens, maybe with web dev, and if you are a full stack, that means you can also do backend. So the number of opportunities you might get being a backend engineer or a full stack engineer, because it covers backend as well, you might get more just because of the nature of that. I wouldn't say that it is bad or good. There are still enough opportunities in the web dev space. A lot of people do it. So if you enjoy doing it and you think you can excel at it, or you can be better at it than most of the people, then go ahead and pursue. And I don't think industry would disappoint you that you won't be able to find a job. At least today, I don't think it is not relevant. Maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, I don't know how the industry would change, but I definitely know there are still opportunities that are there for people who are good at the work that they do. So it might take you some time because of things or your experience or something like that, but you won't be going disappointed. Okay, so Darshan has another question where people say that corporate jobs are boring. How do you feel about your life? Is it adventurous, boring? Can you tell us the most enjoyable day at your job? So I think it would depend. Sudarshan, like it's just not your corporate job, because you would also start living in a separate city. You would do different things along with your job. So overall, your life will change or evolve. Net, if the evolution is positive, then I think you should be happy about it, or that's how I am in terms of it. Now to specifically say about the corporate jobs, I mean sometimes you would feel it is a bit redundant because of the nature of it. But then you need to also understand you are working for a company, there are some goals, objectives, or you are trying to build a product. So I think a lot of fun and fulfillment comes from what products are you building, how it is changing or impacting people around you, what it would end up happen if you keep doing it for the next 6 months. So you will start liking the bigger picture more, and then in that bigger picture, in phases or trenches, you might feel, this week was boring, I didn't do anything new, or something would happen. But then it could be because your boss is getting pressured or you are being pressured, something could change. Maybe there are some office events you could enjoy as well. So it's not that bad net if you are like, able to get projects that are helping you upskill. Being an engineer, I think it will always keep you, hooked, and you would like it. Until you don't like software and you are in software, I'm not saying it specifically for you, but for in general, and even I think that's where it will be more challenging than, you are in software. And if you're liking it, and if your team and your people around are able to give you projects that you are liking, then I don't think net it will bore you enough. And then obviously you can explore, do other things, gain your skill set, do more outside, and read. There is a lot of things as you go in the industry. You will start reading how Netflix is building products. You can relate because you might have a similar system in your product, or things you are working on. Then you might get curious how they're doing it at that scale. So scale is something that always keeps evolving in product companies, and then you can always make it better. So if you are someone who likes tech, then you would always be keen to explore more and see how we could do it better. And then that's where I think it can make you happy, or it can keep you satisfied, or else you start changing jobs. You can do those things and then try as well if the current projects or the current company is not moving as fast. So Ravi, I think I'll not go deep in this question for the scope for cloud engineer or web dev. I think there is enough scope. It's just these are a bit niche domains. Now I'm saying it niche if I keep backend or Android or iOS development at the base. It's not that there are not enough opportunities, but the opportunities are limited, and you have to get skilled at it. But once you get skilled at it, you can be assured that you will find something sooner or later, and you should be able to make an impact with that. But in case it happens that one is not able to still find, then you can always keep on increasing your skills, and then go maybe start as a backend dev. And then once you go in the company, like this is also very a thing that happens, that you start with something and then you end up being something else. So it's not that you start as a backend dev, you started to not like backend enough and you start gaining traction for mobile, then you cannot do that. So you can always do that, and then change being in the company or change jobs later. That could give you different skills or change things on top of it. So I don't think there is any need to worry about scope, or at least that's how I think about these topics. How was your team able to manage time effectively? I think it comes like for us it was a lot of practice at the end. I remember we also simulated, like all three of us, before competition with some contest, and we also kind of delegated some responsibilities, that maybe he'll code or he'll start reading the first problem or third problem. So there was some thinking before we went there, and then we practiced. And then at the end, I think it is a lot about your accuracy and how you are able to articulate your solutions. So if you are able to write something that that 90% might be true, like you can even press the submit button without debugging for the easiest problem, maybe, if you are really good at what you're doing. So it just depends. You can manage it in different ways, but it's a competition at the end. So just by spending a lot of time or giving a lot of wrong answers can hurt you negatively. So I think you need to take both sides of the coin. It's not only time, but also the number of questions in the number of non-negative time you're able to do, and then that will give you the rank. So I think there are 2-3 pillars. You need to focus on that effectively, and then I think it could make, like, if you then take it as a high level, then I think it will give you some things. Now, Sanan, I hope I answered the question. It was a bit open-ended. Please feel free to ask another question on top of it if it was not satisfactory. Okay, I think there is another question. Looking back at your career, is there anything you would do differently and why? Yeah, I think very honestly, if I put with the group, like being in college, you are always attracted to working in multinational companies, and then you have to be there, or you feel that this is a checklist then like is there like it has to be a checklist of things that you have to do, or like companies you have to be at. But I don't think it's that strict. Like I think the career would have just started, like even for us, because in every campus the MNCs are given the first slot. There is some kind of like sound in the college that this is coming or that is coming, maybe because of the pay they will offer or the impact it could have. Like no questions asked, like it is important. Like it gives you that thing on your resume. You are able to meet the smartest people in tech, working in these companies that have spent a lot of time in the industry, so there is a lot to learn. But on the other hand, you shouldn't be feel disappointing if you're not able to crack something just before, like just as you start your career. Like your career will be in decades, and maybe after some years you might like if I have to rephrase, your success criteria might evolve. Like they might be in your college, you feel this is more of a success, but then in 4 or 5 years after working in the industry, you might feel that maybe this is not important for me, or I could do something else, or maybe this is not a kind of company I would like to work at. I would like to work at least a startup that gives me more impact and more growth, along with the pay that is needed, right? So if there was one thing I have to do differently, maybe like if I see net, I joined Amazon again after joining Zomato. Maybe it didn't added that much value in my career. Like I went there, I got an opportunity and applied, and I was also hired, fortunately. But if I reflect back, maybe I could have extended my career at Zomato, or I could have tried something else. I went there assuming that a lot will be coming out, but then for me it didn't come out. For someone else it could. So I believe that you shouldn't worry a lot about which companies you're working until pay or culture or something very major is hurting you in some shape and form. If you are liking your work and you are getting the kind of projects you believe you should be doing, then it is good. And then always keep an eye on what other people are doing and where the things are adding on to, and then that would give you that confidence and then clarity on taking the next step. Like you shouldn't think a lot in future. If you're clear about the next step, just take that and then do it right. Then hopefully while you're doing that, something else, or you'll understand more things that will give you more insights, and then you take it ahead on top of it. Okay, Cracker, I think your question is a bit generic. If you can be more specific, I can answer it. What kind of project ideas you are looking out for? Like something to build, something to learn? Like what exactly you would be looking out for? Is there any difference in preparation for off-campus interview than on-campus? I think I gave an on-campus, I told already, with Amazon. Then I also got an on-campus offer from another MNC based out of US. The interviews were pretty much the same. If I compared to my off-campus Zomato interview, it was some problem-solving, coding, checking the basics. And then I think, when you are giving an off-campus internship, they might ask you a bit about culture, or, a bit about how you would operate. There would be some kind of a bar raise around, or they would like to know more about your industry experience, given you are now applying off campus, if you have some experience on internship. So I think you might want to brush up your things you have written on your resume well or better for an off campus interview, specifically from the projects that you have done, because they can go inside and grill and then try to know. Whereas on an on campus, they might have a structure, like every company have some format, and they might not go deep because there are a lot of candidates and they have to make a choice. There is time constraint as well. But in off campus, they might call you in their office, so things might change. And what I would say is just talk to the recruiter if you're going off campus, understand it in and out, what are the expectations, and just to be safe, like brush up on the things on your resume very well, so that at least for the things you have written, you're aware of, and then everything else will follow. Okay, how is the journey being from developer to manager in the company? I think it is it was again, like it was a new role. As I said, you can change roles in the company if you start think you can, if you think you can do other things. So for me as well, I was an IC, I moved to a senior role, and then I moved to a manager. How was the journey? It was like my lead of my team left, and then there was a void. and I was one of the old members of the team, or I had context on the system we were working on. And then I took that opportunity to drive things, and I feel that I could do it, or it started giving me that fulfillment or ownership. And I felt maybe this is a career path I can pursue. So I talked with my manager, told him about my aspirations. He talked with the company leadership, and then we aligned, and then I was given this role. So this was my 6 month transition period where I was not actually a manager, but I was doing some things as guided by my manager for the team. And then officially after some time, I took this role and became a full-time manager. And then after that as well, I took some time to to see and understand if this is for me. And then once I got that conviction, then I just started to focus more on management, and since then I've been into management so far. So it's easier to do if you are within the company. Sandeepan, if this is what you wanted to ask as well. If you are an IC, just want to move to a management, it might be like for the other company, as you see, they see what you have done. They need conviction in what you can bring to the table, right? So if you have some experience leading a team, even being an IC or some things, it can help you crack an early management role. But generally, it's how that you have to groom being in the company, and then you transition, and then you can obviously hop and switch and do things. That's how it is. I'm sorry. What emerging technologies or trends do you believe will be the biggest impact on the tech industry in coming years? I think it will be a lot on like machine learning and AI for sure. I think everyone knows about it. Things that you could do with the GPTs were, and with GitHub Copilot, for example, if you guys have tried, like you have an assistant while you can code, they can tell you what this code means, they can write code test cases for you and do a lot of things. So things are moving a lot in the direction which could give you early feedback loops. This is one of the trends. I believe it will become more. Maybe basic software development will be, maybe software development can go something like you can speak like an English, and some like system can write it for you. So expressing to a computer might become easier. This is how I think people are thinking. Secondly, I think even AR VR could like take up a lot of space. A lot of noise was there a couple of years ago, but then this took over kind of, and then now everyone is talking about AI and ML. But virtual reality as a space and the impact it could have, I think it is also big on how it could connect between people. And I believe these are some of the newer things that will come. And maybe like software development will become like getting an application or building a website will become, anyone can do it. Like I think there are already no code platforms. You can just do, if you know basic English, you can plug and play and make your app or do things. You can sell your first product. So getting to start something is easier than it was 10 years ago. Now you don't need to hire so many people to build a product and test. But then obviously as the complexity and competition grows, there will always be need for people who could do it better and then help it. So I think that's where it will head on going ahead. How to improve our skills after joining IT? I think it will pretty much the same as you do. You would learn about the trends. Now, as you go in the industry, you would read a lot about coding at industry standards, scaling systems, architecture, system design, and you would start seeing that in your projects. So then you need to start, checking on how you can improve those skills. There is enough information on the internet and you can take it from there. So this is how you could work on to improve your skills. And then I think there is another advantage being in industries. You will always get seniors in your company, or in industry you can connect with people on LinkedIn, you can share your feedback. I think they will be more than happy to help you. And then you can always build with folks who are senior in your team, in your organization, in the wider group. They can give you a lot of insights because they are working on a similar product, or maybe same product if they are in your own team or in your organization. And then they can guide you, and they can tell you the resources that you need to ace on. But generally from a software development standpoint, I guess system design architecture will start getting more important as you start spending years. How you design the system and scale it becomes equally important on how do you code it when you start it. Okay. Now, will you bring machine learning? No, I don't think I am a ML guy so far, but I know people who are into this. So, Mayuresh, in case you are interested, please reach out. I think there are enough people already on the internet who could give you this course, and I think you should be getting that help from them. Can you tell how to dive deeper into development? I'm currently learning React and what to grasp on specifically. Please address this. I think best is you should start building a tool or something meaningful, like reading about React and understanding the basics. You can code maybe CP programming as well, or you can code some basic data structures that React offers and learn the language. Once you are done with learning the language, to grasp it more efficiently, I think you need to practice it more, and you should start, maybe reach out to your prof in college, see if there is some, maybe I think a lot of PhDs are into some kind of projects. See if you would like to build something in React, maybe front end or back end, and use this language to build something that has an impact, or like at least, even if it is not having an impact, you can build a product that could be workable. Like think of an idea or something, maybe something that can help the college with some system, or just for you, there are a lot of things you could do, and then try to implement that. Like once you go deeper, maybe do different components, then if you do it enough times, because you're now building a big tool, and that's what I was talking about a while ago, that in industry you might feel that sometimes you have to repeat things, but that will give you that learning, and then it will get in your heads more easily, and you will retain it more better. You will get comfortable programming it, and then I think you can upskill and then do more complex things in that language. Okay. Hi, Bhargav. Um, I don't think there are more questions ahead. I hope these things made sense to you folks. Again, as I said, this was more of from my experience. People can have their own experience, and they could share some things on top of it. So I tried to share the context of the things that I said, so that you could resonate. And then if you have anything or anywhere I could support with, then please reach out. I'm happy to help, and I can help you answer.
Thank you so much for that, Dharmesh Bhaiya, for generously sharing your knowledge and experience. The session has been enlightening, and we hope everyone has gained valuable insights from today's session. We'll share Dharmesh Bhaiya's LinkedIn profile where you can still approach him and ask further questions. We extend our gratitude to all who participated in the session. With that, we can conclude our session. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Satvika and Recursion team, for getting me in. It was nice to connect with the group after a while. I think it has been a decade now, and connect with you all. And looking forward to talk to you guys again.